The number is 8 and 4, or 4 and 8. So, but the number gets reduced down to, we have 8 and 4. That's 12. And the 12 goes to a 3. That's creativity. Beautiful. Okay, we have creativity as a harmonious number for the reading. Beautiful, thank you. Okay. And we're going to, and like I said, it's going to be, we're going to synergize the Libra Full Moon energies. And Jupiter represents the conscience. And Pluto represents the subconscious. Like Jupiter, okay, first of all, this is going to be the position of the sun and the moon. And we're going to pull two, Spirit is going to pick two cards for that are going to represent Jupiter and Pluto. As I said, Jupiter represents, he's the ruler of the sky. So that's the conscience. Pluto is the ruler of the underworld. And that's the subconscious. So these two cards will have to be processed through Jupiter and Pluto, the conscious and the subconscious. Like a transformation. Like a transformation from Jupiter is going to challenge our reality in the real world. Like what we see, what we visually see. Like something that would challenge our reality in the real world. An example of that would be like the discovery of galaxies by Hubble. That would have challenged our reality, our visual reality for sure, of what we see. And what we see, what we actually see may not be actually what it is. And as it turned out, some of those bright objects in the sky are not stars. Some of them are galaxies. So there's an example of Jupiter challenging our reality. Okay, what's an example of Pluto? So Pluto, what Pluto does is if we looked at a mirror, if let's say, if Jupiter made this, if this was a mirror, if this is a mirror, if Jupiter made this mirror, we'd be looking at ourselves in the mirror. Okay? We'd be looking at the real world, whatever we see that's under the sun in the real world, in this mirror, in Jupiter's mirror. Whatever we see in the physical world. If Jupiter made this mirror, if Pluto made this mirror, the mirror would reflect the unseen, the hidden. So if Pluto made this mirror, this would be a reflection of our subconscious. Okay? So it would reflect our subconscious. So if this was Jupiter, if Jupiter made this mirror, we would be seeing things in the real world as they are. We'd be looking at our image our own reflection in the mirror. Okay, but if Pluto made this mirror, we'd be looking at the hidden, the unseen of ourselves. We'd be looking at a mirror of our subconscious. We'd be looking at the mirror of our subconscious, what's hidden. Okay. So can we, Spirit, can we get a card that represents the sun? Please. Okay, yeah. Wow. That's the 9 of Hearts. Okay, that's the 2 of Hearts. Okay, so this represents the sun, and this represents the position of the moon. Okay. A union. Okay. So these 2 cards represents Jupiter. This card gonna represent Jupiter. Okay, the world. Yeah, wow. Ooh. The world. Okay, yeah, okay. What's this? Oh, well, the Queen of Wands. Wow, they just flipped out. Well, that was freaky. The world just came out like that. Okay. Whew. All right. So this energy that represents the sun and the moon, it's like it's very similar to a reading that I did before that we had to in the Aries full moon the energy of the moon, the sun and the moon was processed through the apex, and the apex represented, well, in this case, in the Aries full moon, they represented, it was Pluto and Saturn and the south node, and it was the dichotomous key. In the Libra full moon, right now, the apex represents Jupiter and Pluto. So this energy gets processed through Jupiter and Pluto. Okay, yeah. And here's something. This is Jupiter. This represents Jupiter. This is really freaky how this world card comes up as Jupiter. So Jupiter can challenge our reality. Yeah, it challenges our reality in the world. Like the energy, like when Einstein challenged the status quo about the characteristics of light. Light is a wave and a particle at the same time. So his work challenged reality. How light, how stars behind our sun, their light bends. Because light is like a particle. And if light is like a particle, then gravity can affect light. So the stars behind the sun. So the stars. So if there was if this was the sun, and this was stars, and here's us looking at the stars. Okay. So if there's a star behind the sun, and if the sun, gravity, can affect light, then the light of the stars behind the sun will be affected. And if there's light coming towards the sun, it's going to bend towards this sun, our sun. And then it's going to look like the sun is actually over here. Okay? Because the sun has bent the light of this star towards it. So it's coming in this direction, then it's going to be moving in that direction. So it looks like the star is coming from this direction. So it looks like the star would be over here. Okay, but that changed. Okay. But my point was that idea right there changed our reality, changed the way we looked at things in the real world, changed our reality. It challenged our reality, the way we saw stars and the way we looked at reality. Okay, that's Jupiter. That's Jupiter's energy. Jupiter's going to challenge things in the real world. Something like what I just said. Pluto is going to challenge the subconscious. Okay? And the subconscious is like the civil rights movement. Like Pluto is going to put up a mirror up to us and society, and the image that comes back is not us. It's going to be our subconscious. So, like the civil rights movement was was Pluto, was a really good example of the transformation energy of Pluto. Because what it would do to those civil rights, for the people who were behind the civil rights movement, Pluto would have held up a mirror to those people and said, well, this is what you think in reality, in the real world, but this is what you really think. Okay? What you really think is the desire to fully express yourselves in the real world. That's what you really think. So Pluto was, that's the energy of Pluto. Pluto would have held up a mirror to those people who were behind the civil rights movement and would have showed their subconscious as desiring to fully express themselves in the real world. And it would have been the same way with this movement and this energy behind challenging Russian communism, it would be something very similar. You know, Pluto would have held up a mirror to those people under Russian communism rule and said, well, you know, your fear, you display these characteristics in the real world like this, but if this was Pluto's mirror, they would have said, well, here's what you really think. Okay? And it would probably be very similar to those civil rights, those people behind the civil rights movement. It would have said, well, you desire to fully express yourselves. Your fear says this in the real world, but underneath your fears, your subconscious thinks this. You desire to be free. And the ability to fully express yourselves and to be able to determine your own destiny, that type of thing. So Pluto, so there's the examples of Jupiter challenging our reality in the real world with what Einstein did with his work. And then Pluto's energy would have manifested as the civil rights movement or the movement against Russian communism and totalitarianism. Okay. So, what could be coming? So this is the world. This is a completion of something. And there's an energy of completion or mastering something in a previous reading, in the quarterly check-in. Something. The world is going to complete something. And the world is going to, if you can see this, can you see this card? The world is going to be transformed. But it looks like the world is going to complete something. It's going to walk through their own archway. It's going to create a window of opportunity. Beautiful. That's happening in the conscience. Like, reality is going to change. Wow, that's Jupiter. This came in the spot for Pluto. This is the Queen of Wands. This is action energy. Wow. So this sunflower is optimism, but this cat, this cat represents the subconscious. This cat, can you see the cat and the sunflower? The Queen of Wands is action energy. The Queen of Wands is can take on the energy like Napoleonic energy and take action and whatever it takes and take the hill. She can do that, but she can be diplomatic as well. That's the Queen of Wands. she has her intuition. She trusts. This is this black cat represents intuition or hidden knowledge. So she relies definitely on the action of the lion and the fire energy of the lion here. But she has optimism with this sunflower. But she also trusts in her her intuition. So that's in the spot for Pluto. Okay. So everything about the energies of the Libra full moon is of the mind. All right. So here's what I get. Reality is going to change in the world for Earth. But they're going to walk through their own archway, and it's going to be a window of opportunity for them, and it's going to be a completion. This symbolizes a completion. Okay, what I get from this, it's in the spot of Pluto. The subconscious of society will be challenged and transformed, but they're going to take action on. Like, this is going to be a transformation of being transformed, having their subconscious challenged, but also taking action on it in the world. Taking action on it in the world. So again, like, it's nothing short of a larger than life transformation of our conscience and subconscious, of society's conscience and subconscious in the world. And they're going to be taking action on their transformation. Oh, I need a drink of a tea. Okay, now this is in the sun position. This represents desires. This is the Nine of Hearts. This is beautiful. This is a completion. This is another completion here. This is a completion, and this is a completion. Beautiful. This is going after our dreams. This is full of emotion. This is the water energy, the hearts. So this is full of emotion. And full of desires. And going after and following our dreams. Going after and making our dreams come true. This is a dream come true. And this is in the sun energy. This is in the sun energy, and this is a completion. Beautiful, yeah. This is beautiful. This is in the moon, in the spot of the moon. This is another energy full of emotion. This is the Two of Hearts. I literally lost my breath in this reading. Okay. Now this is the Two of Hearts. This is a union. This could be a union. Well, it is a union. But it's a union, could be of anything. But here's what I get. here's what I get. Not only, yeah, it's like the civil rights movement was not only a challenge of the subconscious, but it was challenging people's subconscious, but also taking action, actually manifesting, like the movement. The civil rights movement was like an actual manifestation of people's conscience, subconscious. People says subconscious. So this is what the energy, that's the energy of the civil rights. It was had the energy of action, but this really beautiful energy of optimism, and it was literally challenging their subconscious. And this is the cat energy right here, hidden knowledge. Okay, so this is a representation of, could be a representation of the civil rights movement. The energy on the Queen of Wands is very similar to the manifestation of the civil rights movement, where people got their subconscious challenged and actually took action on that challenge in the real world. And this is the Queen of Wands. Okay, now this energy, the sun and the moon energy, gets processed through here. So my point was there's a team. There's a team here. There's a team of the subconscious and the conscious. There's a team here. And here, this is a world, this is a completion. And so it's possible we can process. Okay, folks, the sound is still rolling. Our battery for our camera went dead, but sound is still rolling. So you already know what the energy of the cards are. Okay, so the Nine of Hearts and the Two of Hearts need to get processed through the energy and the apex of Jupiter and Pluto, and we can. The world symbolizes completion. The Nine of Hearts also symbolizes a completion. And what's going on in the real world with Pluto is, it looks like we have a team of the subconscious and the conscious. The subconscious is being challenged, and it looks like the conscience is actually going to take action on that challenge, similar to the energy of a civil rights movement. Okay, so we can process this. We can process the Two of Hearts, which is a team, through Pluto, through the Queen of Wands. Beautiful.